This video is not here to shame anyone for eating meat. Most of us enjoy it, rely on it, and grew up with it. Meat is delicious, convenient, and deeply woven into our cultures, which is why only a small percentage of people in Europe or the United States avoid it altogether at the same time. We genuinely care about animals. Many of us have pets, believe in animal rights, and react strongly to any form of cruelty. These two truths coexist. We love the taste of meat, and we care about the well-being of animals. Unfortunately, the way most farm animals are raised today is far from humane. The suffering is not intentional. It is the result of a system designed to make meat extremely cheap. And the uncomfortable reality is that a small increase in what we pay could spare animals from the worst conditions before we go further. It is important to acknowledge that farming is complex. Farmers themselves often want to provide better environments for their animals, but they are trapped in a system driven by relentless cost-cutting and tight margins. Laws differ across countries. Farms vary widely. Reliable data isn't always available. Still, the broad patterns are clear enough to talk about to make things easier to understand. Let's divide farming conditions into three general categories: decent, prison-like, and torture-level conditions. These are simplified labels, and the real world has more nuance. But this framework helps illustrate what is happening. So is meat eaters. What would it actually cost us to avoid the worst suffering while still enjoying our favorite meals? Chickens at any moment. Nearly 26 billion chickens exist on Earth, more than all other birds combined. Though often underestimated, chickens are social, capable of communication, and able to feel stress, comfort, and even empathy. Yet the majority live in extremely harsh environments. Eggs globally. Around 90% of egg-laying hens live in tight cages where they cannot stretch their wings or express basic behaviors like scratching, nesting, or perching. Frustration often leads to aggression. Many farms blunt their beaks to control this. Progress has been made in the US and Europe. But over half of hens are still confined to cages. What's shocking is how little money it takes to change this. If a typical egg costs about 30 cents, moving a hen from a cage to a barn system raises the price by only about 2 cents per egg. Giving hens outdoor access free range raises the price by about 7 cents per egg. One of the most disturbing practices, male chick culling, still happens almost everywhere. Billions of newborn male chicks are killed because they cannot lay eggs. Countries like Germany and France now rely on early scanning techniques to prevent male chicks from hatching in the first place. This adds just 2 to 5 cents per egg altogether, for less than $1 more per dozen. An egg buyer can support far better living conditions. Chicken meat chickens face different issues. They are bred to grow unbelievably fast, so fast that their bodies struggle to function normally. Many suffer from joint pain, mobility problems, and significant stress. Switching to slower-growing breeds, which suffer far less, would raise the price of a typical chicken breast by about 9 cents in the US. Giving chickens more space, natural light, and basic enrichments in a prison-level environment raises cost by around 13 cents per serving. Fully free-range chicken is significantly more expensive, often double the price. But chicken is cheap to begin with, so even doubling the cost keeps it affordable relative to other meats. Pigs are incredibly intelligent, on par with dogs, and very social. Yet over 90% of pigs live in cramped, barren indoor units with concrete floors and almost no stimulation. To control stress-related behaviors, piglets often have their tails removed and males are castrated. Frequently, without pain relief, mother pigs often endure farrowing crates. Metal enclosures so small they can barely move. But even here, the changes needed are not financially dramatic. Removing farrowing crates raises, through price of a typical pork serving by around 20 cents. Providing bedding, more space, and basic enrichment adds another 20 cents. Providing partial outdoor access raises the cost by an additional 80 cents, so for roughly $1.2 more per serving. A pig's life can go from extreme confinement to something recognizably humane. Cows, cattle, raised for beef, generally live better lives because they spend a large portion of their lives outdoors. The biggest problem for them comes at the end, when they are moved into crowded feedlots to rapidly gain weight, giving cattle lifelong. Grazing access increases beef prices by around 15%. According to a German study, dairy cows have it tougher. Many spend most of their lives indoors on hard floors, causing chronic pain. Allowing them outdoor time adds only around 10 cents per liter of milk. The bigger picture in summary: raising the living standards of commonly eaten animals from severe suffering to something much more humane would increase prices by approximately 15% for beef and milk, 50% for eggs and pork, 100% for chicken meat despite sounding large. These increases still keep prices within historical norms. In the U.S., the average person spends about $337 a month on food, of which $88 goes to meat, eggs, and dairy. A 50% increase would raise the total food budget by about $43 per month, roughly what Americans spent on food. Relative to income in the late 1980s, food has become so cheap that about 20% of purchased meat is thrown away, simply because it is no longer treated as valuable. Reducing waste alone could offset most cost increases. What can consumers do? Labels matter, but they're confusing. Some labels reflect real improvements, while others rely on vague terms like natural or eco, without guaranteeing better animal welfare. Organic meat often includes better conditions, but it also includes unrelated restrictions like banning GMO feed, which raises prices but does not benefit the animals or the consumer. If you can afford it, choosing well-regulated welfare labels or verified local farms is the most reliable path. And if you can't, simply reducing waste and eating slightly less meat still makes a meaningful difference. There is one exception worth mentioning: mussels. They clean water, absorb carbon, and likely do not feel pain. They are one of the most sustainable animal proteins available. Conclusion: you do not need to be vegan to recognize that current animal farming practices are unacceptable. Improving the lives of billions of animals is not only possible, it is surprisingly affordable. We simply need to be willing to pay closer to what previous generations paid for food by spending a little more, wasting a little less, and avoiding the worst forms of production. We can meaningfully change an industry that affects billions of living creatures. It truly is that simple.